Deus Ex's technical quality can be summed up rather quickly as follows. The textures are shit. The models are shit. The animations are shit. All the environments look like shit. All the effects look like shit. Everything looks like shit. This game looks bad, even for the time it came out. I would argue the terrible graphics hurt your immersion into the game world, especially in larger outdoor areas where the poor quality of the terrain and building models is really obvious. It's too bad, really, because the game tries so hard and succeeds in creating a dark, cyberpunk, dystopian atmosphere with all of its other elements, except the voice acting, we'll get to that. And it's a shame that the visuals simply don't do the setting justice. The sound effects vary between acceptable to downright irritating. I'm looking at you, screeching, pushing barrel sound. And I'll be damned if a rocket launcher sounds anything like what the Gep gun sounds like in this game. Some of the gun sounds just sound strange, to be honest. Especially the plasma rifle. But overall, it's nothing terrible, although that same repeating footstep sound on every surface, the grass sound, the metal sound, and the wood sound, just repeating over and 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 over again, is really annoying. But not terrible. What is terrible is the acting. Holy shit, they could not have botched this harder if they tried. It goes beyond being just flat and boring. It actively works against the tone the script is supposed to be invoking in the characters' voices. Inflections are completely wrong. The emotion of the voiceover does not match what is implied by the text. The accents, the fucking accents, are absolutely ear-splittingly horrible. And anyone who does produce emotion in their performance largely hams it up and becomes ridiculous sounding. There's almost nothing good to say about any of it. A couple of the Anatco troops and Paul and some of what Manderley and Alex and maybe Paige say is good. That's pretty much it. In fact, JC was actually intentionally made to sound emotionless, so that the player could project their emotions onto him. The problem with that is, it doesn't work with how they implemented him, because the cutscenes are all third person, JC is voiced, and you can't actually make any dialogue choices that express any emotion for him. All of these things prevent the player from stepping into JC's shoes. He's clearly a separate character, not merely a player avatar, but apparently they thought he could function as such and made him sound utterly bored and lifeless for almost all of his dialogue. And the few times he tries to say something dramatic, it comes off just completely wrong. It utterly fails. I'm looking, you've probably seen the clip. A bomb! His only good lines are his one-liners. That's it. The rest of it just makes you want to fall asleep. Overall, the entire cast does a great disservice to the script, and I have no idea how the devs thought that any of it was good in any way. It actively detracts from all of the dialogue, and makes internalizing what the characters say really difficult. Now, luckily, to end on a positive note, they did nail the soundtrack. Now, I'm not much of a music critic, to be fair. But what I can tell you is they put together a masterful electronic soundtrack to properly convey both the futuristic and action-oriented and sinister vibes that the game produces variously throughout its runtime. Indeed, the soundtrack is notable for having a separate action version of each track that plays whenever the player is in combat. And some of these are really good. They really get your blood pumping. It's a shame that combat doesn't usually last long enough for you to actually hear them all the way through. And I could honestly listen to the intro theme all day. It is a classic, and you will probably find yourself listening to it every time you boot the game up. Although, I must say my personal favorite is Conspiravision, the Quotes screen track. If you've never heard it by accessing the Legend cheat menu, take a listen.